Jai Hind, my dear students. Today we are going to learn about computer languages. Okay, so after going through this chapter, this video, you will be able to understand the different types of computer languages. You will able to learn how low level and high level languages in detail, and we will explain what translators are and its type, and you will understand the working of translation. Okay, so let's move on. So language is a medium for sharing the ideas, opinion, thoughts, and expressing ourselves to those who understand it. Okay, so similarly, when you want to communicate with a computer for performing multiple tasks, it requires instructions from the user. Okay, but a computer does not understand the human language. That's why the computer languages are introduced for making the human computer interaction easier. Okay, so the instructions that you give to a computer is known as program. Okay, instructions that you give to a computer is known as program. The process of writing the specific instruction in computer language is called programming. Okay, so language that you use to give the instruction is known as programming language. Okay, so every language has a set of rules which must be followed while conveying the message to others. Okay, so likewise the set of rules which are required to be followed in the programming language is defined as syntax. Okay, so with the advancement in the technology, the computer language are expanded. Multiple computer language came into existence. Okay, so let's learn about these in detail. So first we will learn types of computer language. So there are many computer language used around the world. These languages were developed either for specific purpose like research, business, and etc. for specific types of computers. Okay, so the development of computer languages are classified into following generations of language. Okay, so as you can see, computer languages is divided into two categories: low level language and high level language. And further, low level language is divided into two categories, that is first generation language, that is known as machine language. Okay, and second generation language, that is known as assembly language. Okay, similarly high level language is also divided into two categories, that is first one is generation language like Fortran, COBOL, C, Pascal, Basic, Java. Okay, and next is fourth generation language, for example like SQL, Python, Power Builder, Oracle. Okay, so we will learn individually about these languages. Okay, so first let's learn about low level language. So a low level language is a machine dependent programming language. It means that the instruction written, it can be processed directly by the CPU and no translation of the program is required. Okay, since the computer are different internally, writing and debugging the program may vary from computer to computer. Okay, the low level language can divide it into two categories. Okay, so first is machine language and second is assembly language. Okay, so machine language is a basic language which is understood by the computer. Okay, so it is a first generation language as it is a primary computer language came into existence. So the main features of this language of a machine language are like it is written in the form of string of zeros and ones, where zero represents off state and one represent on state. Second is it is also known as binary language or machine code. Okay, third advantage is that machine language get processed at a very high speed with low memory utilization. Okay, and the last advantage is every command or instruction given to the computer is converted into machine language before processing. Okay, so now let's learn about assembly language. Okay, so an assembly language is the first computer language which was developed using English in 1950. Okay, it is a second generation language or 2GL. Okay, so the main feature of assembly language are like it is developed to overcome the problems faced while using the binary language, as it is directly communicated with computer hardware. Okay, and in this language the codes are written using alphanumeric symbols called mnemonics. Okay, so for example, add for addition, move for move, etc. Okay, it is also known as symbolic language. It requires less memory and execution time, and it also allow hardware specific complex job in an easier way. Okay, so like machine language, assembly language is also machine dependent. Okay, and since a computer can only understand machine language, so assembly language program must be converted to machine language. So this can be done using translator program known as assembler. Is that clear? So next we will learn about high level language. So a high level language is a programming language which enables a programmer to write programs that are machine independent. It is easier to understand by humans as the program written in this language uses English words, numbers and symbols. The high level language are divided into two categories. Okay, the first is third generation language and second is fourth generation language. Okay, as I have said earlier. Okay, so first is the third generation language. So a third generation language, also known as 3GL, okay, so was developed make the programming easier to understand by creating program files using English like language. Okay, so main feature of third generation language are like it is simple, easily understandable and more user friendly as compared to first generation and second generation. Okay, so a third generation uses English like language, making it easier for coding, and it is also not dependent on machines. It can run on different types of computers with little or no modification. Okay, so programs written in third generation language needs to be translated into machine language using translator program and like compiler or interpreter. Okay, so example of these language are COBOL, Fortran, Basic, C, Java, JavaScript, Visual Basics. Okay, these are the examples of third generation high level language. So next is fourth generation language. So a fourth generation language, also known as 4GL. Okay, it is similar to human language, which means near to natural language. The main feature of fourth generation language are this language use English words and sentences which are similar to the statements that a human use. Okay, hence it specifies what the program should perform without any explanation. Okay, so this is designed to reduce the effort of programming and the time consumed in the development of a software. Okay, so the program written in 4GLs are easier to read, write and maintain and have a very high speed of execution. Okay, so fourth generation language are machine independent, like the language are like SQL, Oracle, Python, Perl, Ruby. So these are the examples of fourth generation language. Okay, now let's learn about translator. Okay, so a computer can only understand the machine language, which is made up of string of zeros and ones. Hence, all the program written in assembly language and high level language must be converted into machine language. Okay, so a translator program is used. So a translator is a software which converts the codes from one language to another. It is also known as language processor. So there are different stages of the code during the process of translation. So first stage is source code. So source code is the original human readable version of computer program. It consists of code written in assembly or high level language. Okay, and second stage is object code. So object codes is the intermediate representation of program generated during the translation process. Okay, it is not directly executable by the CPU. Okay, third is executable code. So it is a final output of the translation process. It consists of machine code instruction that can be directly executed by the CPU. Okay, so there are types of translators. First is assembler. So assembler, a computer can only understand machine language. So assembly language programs have to be converted to machine language. So translator program known as assembler were developed to convert the assembly language program into machine language. So a program written in assembly language is called the source program, and whereas the program converted into machine language by the assembler is called the object program or object code. Okay, so like machine language, assembly language is also machine dependent, and programming in this language is also quite time consuming. Okay, second is compiler. Okay, so a compiler is also a translator program which is used to convert a high level language program into machine language. It translates the whole program at once, generates the object code for the program along with the list of errors. Okay, so the object code is saved and source program does not have to be compiled each time before it is executed. Okay, so the execution speed of compiler is faster as compared to the interpreter. Okay, next is interpreter. So an interpreter reads and executes the source code line by line or statement by statement without creating a separate executable file. It translates and executes the code in real time. Okay, interpreter are used with languages like Python, Ruby and JavaScript. Okay, an interpreter use memory more effectively but it's slower than a compiler. Okay, now let's learn the working of a translator. So the process of translation involves multiple stages. So after a translator converts your source code into object code and executable code, the CPU is ready to process your program and produce the output. Okay, so there is an homework for you. So what you will do, you will comment the answer for the question, like write names of any two third generation language. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you like the video and thank you for listening. Jai Hind.